The ground up, I built it with the intent of bringing my town up. Y'all getting all wound up. Y'all getting all telling me yeah, it's impossible. I'm looking at them like nah, that's an obstacle, bruh.
I set that goal so high, on the way up, I catch fire. Now in from above and never look back at where we took off. Just light that sky up because.
Okay, here we go. I'm extremely excited to have Joshua Smith, entrepreneur, realtor, and coach on episode 8 of the Kevin Widdop Show, my first live remote interview. Joshua and I first linked up via online entrepreneur Lewis Howe's mastermind network on Facebook, which is all about generating 7-figure US dollars using webinars. Joshua, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It's a massive honor. Stoked to be here, dude.
No problem at all. What I'd like to focus on in this interview is webinars, really. I read, Joshua, that you made an incredible $1.3 million over the course of the last 12 months using webinars. And in this episode, I'd really like to unlock the tools, the resources, the strategies you use to make that happen. But for anyone who doesn't know about your work, can you just introduce who you are and give us a little introduction about your multifaceted career and business, please?
Yeah. So again, thanks for having me, man. This is I always love being on podcasts and dropping as much knowledge as I possibly can. I mean, we all started somewhere, and if it wasn't for amazing podcasts like yours, dude, I would never be where I am, man. So it's always an honor. So, dude, I got into the entrepreneurship game 12 years ago. I was 23 years old. I was in the health club business, and I wanted to go out there and open up my own facility. But I was a college dropout, had $1,000 to my name. My credit was shit. And so I'm going to these banks, and I'm like, dude, I can't get a loan, right? So I had to raise the capital. It cost me $800,000 to open what I wanted to open up. So I'm like, well, it's 2005. All these dudes were killing it in real estate. I'm like, man, I love people. I love working my ass off. Let me jump into real estate, raise the capital, and then I'll go open up my health club facility. And I always say that the health clubs was my passion. Real estate became my obsession. So I jumped into real estate. That's what began my entrepreneurship career, if you will, at 23, and started having immediate success, man. I'm one of those guys that I'll work 4 a.m. to midnight. Dude, I don't care. Like, I'll outwork anybody. And within 2 years, I was doing over $1 million a year in commissions and got a lot of national publicity, right?
Wow.
Was voted the 30 top realtor in America by the Wall Street Journal and asked to speak and be on stages. And then that very quickly, as I'm building my real estate company, that very quickly led into being asked to speak and being asked to coach. And initially, I wasn't interested in that. And this is all going to lead into the webinar game I am today. So there's a rhyme to the reason of the story here. So I had no intention, I had no intention of building a real estate company. It was literally just to raise some bank to go open a gym. Now I got this massive real estate company that I still have today. Now I'm getting asked to speak and coach. And again, I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to go that path. But eventually, after 6 months of it, the demand was there. So finally one day I said yes. And then that led from one-on-one consulting eventually to what I do now in the webinar game. So now we have several thousand real estate agents from all over the United States, all over Canada that come through my product, which then has led to many other ventures, right? Led to now I own a media company. I own a supplement company. We have a marketing company for physicians over the United States, for doctors. We represent doctors, to real estate specific software. So all of these ventures, what's crazy about entrepreneurship, man, is tell people that if you just work your damn ass off, you create success, you solve your own problems, you show the rest of the world that you can solve those problems, people will be willing to pay you to help them solve those problems. And it just keeps expanding, where today I'm either solely own or involved in partnerships where we own and operate 6 companies today.
That's an incredible story, first of all. So, congratulations. It's a real privilege to have somebody like you on the show. Can we jump into webinars? First of all, for anybody who doesn't know about webinars at the moment are the in thing to some extent, aren't they? Can you crystallize why are webinars such a valuable sales and marketing tool for anybody that's not really aware?
Yeah, so the consumer today, I think the reason that webinars are so great is the consumer today hates being sold. They want to buy, but they absolutely hate being sold. I mean, the consumer today is like, hey, give me the information that I want to know when I want to know it. That's convenient for me. Let me do my own due diligence, and I'll let you know when I want to pay for your service. That's
Wow.
the consumer today, right? So webinars allow us to be able to do that, right? I mean, we can reach people all over the world at a time that's convenient to them. And if you structure them right, a lot of people structure webinars in the wrong manner, but if you structure them right, you can go out there and have a massive positive impact on their life, strike an emotional chord with them, allow that social proof to happen, and then eventually talk about your product and be able to sell your product. So it's I got into webinars, dude, because like I said, I was doing a lot of consulting and coaching. I hate one-on-one coaching. Like it is like when I was running gyms, I loved running the facilities. I hated personal training. So even though I got to the point where people were paying me $1,500 an hour, I was miserable. There was no scalability to it. I just didn't enjoy it. So I created a group format that was scalable, that became a win-win, that was congruent with the style that I love. And webinars has been a brilliant way to go out there and sell it. So webinars are I don't know of a better way to sell any type of online digital marketing product better than webinars, man.
And does it have to be an online digital product? I'm just getting into webinars. I'm thinking about selling I'm in the ideation stage. I'm in the productization stage. I'm thinking about selling a digital course. Does it have to be an online product, or obviously that's no.
No, like I sell physical products. We have a health and supplement company. So we sell physical products, but my products are sold through a digital medium, if you will. So it's online, so it allows them to purchase that product right there. And then however the deliverance is, again, it just allows you to come and have an experience. Like if we're on a webinar right now, you're in, I'm able to speak to you like it's me and you. Even though I might have, 1,000 people on there, people get to know you. They get to experience you. You can bring out your personality. You can walk them through. You can add massive value. Like nobody's going to whip out their wallet until you've added massive value. You can't just be like, hey, dude, here's how great I am. Buy my shit. Right? Like you got to walk them through, strike an emotional chord, connect with them, and be able to create that believability, create yourself as an authority space. But like my webinars, dude, like my free webinars, if you will, that then we have a product that we sell at the end. I go into those with the mission that whether it's free or paid, I'm going to create the best, most knowledgeable webinar experience they've ever had. Yeah. So I give them so much damn information where they even never bought my product. They're going to go out there and make a lot of money off of the free content. It's never a dangle the carrot. It's never shallow. That's what pisses people off. We go so deep to the point where, hey, if they have a problem right now and they need it solved, I've proven myself. Most people don't. I think where so many people go wrong in the webinars is they're like, well, I want the now immediate sales. I get that we all do. But just to rewind the clock, so when I first started my webinars, I was having to spend an ungodly amount of money to get the now immediate sales. Right. Now I'm spending very little amounts of money to get more sales because there's a lot of people that get in my system. I do the webinar, grows my list. Now they've experienced me for 8 months. Then they start watching my podcasts and other mediums. And 8-9 months later, now they've done my job of staying in touch with them. Now they're ready. Right? So, I literally built my list of over 42,000 opted in people in less than 12 months through webinars. And dude, I have 1.7% of those that opt in that buy my product immediately. So what are you doing? The fortune's been fall up, right? Like, what are you doing with all these other people? And people just abandon these guys, and you can't do that, man. You got to keep creating that experience, and eventually, if and when they're ready, whether it's financially or, there's lots of reasons why people aren't buying with you right now. And you want to capture them at that point when they are ready. Whenever, it could be tomorrow, it could be 6 months, it could be 10 years.
So thanks very much. That's really, really helpful content. I'm sure the audience will agree out there. Can we get a little bit deeper into some of the themes that you're talking about in your webinars? Because I've heard about collaborative webinars are really, really useful to build your list, for example. webinars are an underutilized resource as a content marketing tool, which seems to be a little bit, obviously the number one game is to sell, but it's also to provide valuable content. So can you talk a little bit more broadly for anybody who's in real estate in the UK or Africa, where I've been working recently, and is thinking, how can I start to use webinars to create content and talk about the kinds of challenges that my audience is dealing with?
Yeah, and here's the thing is, you guys, it doesn't matter what the product is. I mean, like I said, I have 6 companies. Everything's totally different, from a company where we actually do all the marketing for doctors, to real estate companies, to t-shirt companies, so I don't want anybody to ever have this limited belief that it's got to be this space, because it's all the same. The consumer behavior is consumer behavior, right? So the other thing I want you to understand too is webinars are powerful, but there's so many things that go into webinars, and I can break this down if you want, but there's like, webinars are just like one tiny piece of the puzzle. Like, think of it like if you're baking brownies. Right? If I'm baking brownies, I got to whip all the ingredients together. Then I got to put them in the right pan. Then I got to preheat the oven. Then once it's preheated, I got to put them in there. Once they're for an exact amount of time, I take them out, let them cool down, and then eventually I have a great product. Well, if I miss one step, the webinar is just one of those steps. Right. Everything else can be brilliant, but you miss one step, dude, you're fucked, right? So we got to make sure that we're hitting all the steps with it. So so my webinar style, there's a few things. Number one, where I started with them is I did everybody's webinars, right? I wanted to see what everybody else was doing, and then what did I like? What did I enjoy? Well, I hated when the damn host would get on there and spend the first 45 minutes talking about themselves. Yeah, like give me like a 2-minute intro, dive into it, and let's get into the crap, right? Let's get into the meat. Everybody wants to talk how they're Billy Badass. You'll prove that you're Billy Badass once you get into the content, right? And then don't be afraid you want to over deliver. You want people to get off that webinar like, holy crap, that's the best free webinar I've ever been on. I can take what they just told me and go out there and create. It's gold, right? Like, a lot of people want to scratch the surface, dangle the carrot, and just keep them leading into it. So, like, for example, I'll share specific strategies that I know are popular. So let's talk about Facebook ads. So I'm a guy that between all my businesses, I spend over $500,000 a year on Facebook. So I've really dialed that space in way more so than most people out there. So, I consider myself an expert in that space, right? So I'll come out there, my real estate webinar, and be like, hey, here's how I generate 1,200 free Facebook leads a month without spending a penny. Like, here's the exact process, right? So we'll go through quick intro, and then I'll have a quick intro, couple testimonials, but like within like 7 minutes, boom, we're in the content. Wow. And then I'm walking through step by step. There's nothing left out. Here's what we do. Here's how we do it. I'm doing live demos, with it, walking them through it pretty hardcore. And then from there, and I'll tell them up front, very upfront with everybody in the beginning. So here's like what to expect from this webinar. So I'm going to do a 2-minute quick intro on who I am, right? Now I'm just going to share with you some social proof. Not that you guys necessarily need it, but I want to share with you some social proof for people. These aren't paid coaching clients, but people that have been on this free webinar, that have taken and got massive success, just so you understand that we're talking about real live data here that will get you results. This isn't a scratch the surface, fluff BS crap webinar that you're used to, right? Yeah. So and I'm just walking them through it, right? So I'll do a quick intro, then I'm going to do some social proof. Then we're going to go into 75 minutes of hardcore, jam-packed free content that's hopefully the best free content that you've ever heard on a webinar that you can apply tonight and go out there and start generating massive amounts of leads. Then after that, I'm going to talk to you about my advanced training product. Right? But I don't want you to freak out. I don't want you to think that this is a sales pitch webinar. Sure. My style is to not dangle the carrot. My style is to go out there and make this the best free experience you've ever had. And then when this is over, I'm going to talk to you about my advanced training. So if you ever get to the point, whether it's now or whether it's 5 years from now, if you're ever thinking about advanced training, advanced coaching, then you think of me. That's what it's all about. There's no pressure. So now they know what to expect, dude. And I get a massive amount to stay to the end, right? Then from there, we're going to jump into live Q&A, and I'll answer everybody's question live, whether it has to do with what we're here to talk about in the topic or not. And then we just dive on in, dude. So that's really my structure for the webinars. Most of my webinars are like 2.5 hours long. That's amazing. Yeah, right? Like people go short on these. I'm like, dude, go short if you don't have a fire, like if you don't have an energetic presence.
Sure.
Right? But I'm not.
I can see you have.
Yeah, man. I mean, I go hardcore. I mean, that 2 hours feels to them like 20 minutes.
Wow.
Because we don't fuck around, dude. Like we go deep into it. When people are like, oh, 2.5 hour webinar is too long, I'm like, yeah, if you're out there selling boring ass shit that nobody wants to listen to, it's painful for them. Yeah, it's too long. Right? But if you make it where, if it's something you're passionate about, you get deep into it, dude, they stick around and they love it. And here's the cool thing is a lot of these people, so I'm in a space, the real estate space, where most people are broke. Right? Your average realtor would make more money working at McDonald's than they do in the business. So they can't afford a $1,000 product. But guess what, dude? Now they're going and telling their brokers about me and everybody else in their office about me. And if they don't buy from me, let me still give to them. Let me still pour into them. Let me still have a positive impact. Yeah. And guess what? They're telling everybody else about me. And then boom, we get them on the pod, on the webinars and the podcast that manner too.
That's really incredible. Your the kind of reciprocity involved in that. You're giving away so much valuable free content for anybody out there who's thinking, I'm not making any money. Why would I try and create so much so-called valuable content with a view to possibly making a sale? How would you convince those people who are a little bit on the edge about content marketing, creating free podcasts, creating free webinars? Because eventually it seems to come good, doesn't it?
Yeah, so we have this like backward mindset of why would I do this? Why would I do this for free? Yeah. It's like my podcast, man. I mean, I cost me $140,000 a year to run my podcast, right? Dude, I mean, it took a long time to be able to have any type of monetization out there. But I look at all my businesses, like we've always had to go out there. I speak now all over the United States and all over Canada, and before I got offered to pay to be able to speak, it was all me, like 3 years, dude, paying my airline tickets, my hotels. I mean, I spent like 30, 40 grand a year to go speak at events. Yeah. Not I wasn't getting paid to spend it. So I had to invest heavily. But then guess what? Next thing I know, I'm sharing stages with Mark Victor Hansen, author of Chicken Soup from the Soul, dudes that worth $3 billion. And wow, these guys are getting paid big bucks to be on stage. I'm having to pay to be there. But guess what, dude? Nobody else knows that. So reality is irrelevant. It's the perception of reality that's everything. Before I started doing webinars and before I started getting in the coaching space, I released 300 free coaching content videos on YouTube. Wow. Yeah, right. I mean, I went out there and started building it. And now, we get hundreds of thousands of downloads every single month on the YouTube channel. But it took me a long time to go out there and build it up. The reality is, you guys, is you got to get that social proof. You got to pour into people. And you have to lead from a place of contribution first. Like nobody's gonna do. I mean, look at the dudes that are doing it, right? Like Gary Vaynerchuk. He's the easiest example right now because he's the fad right now. I don't want to say he's a fad. I mean, he's a legit proven cat. Yeah. But look at all the shit that he's gotten out there. Like most people that follow, never even forked out a book, never, whatever. I mean, gives so much free content, but he's also doing pretty damn well for himself. So always comes back. Never be afraid to give free content. It's like when I first started in the real estate space, when I wanted to break into new communities. I'd go in there, I'd find for sale by owners and expireds, and I would offer to list the first 6 for free. You're right. I call them up. Hey, this offer is very limited. I'm going to list your house for free. I'm going to save you 30 grand. But the agreement is you can't speak of this. You can tell your friends and your family, but you can't tell anybody in your neighborhood because I can't get known as this free agent. Right. Right? But then, boom, overnight, dude, I'd have 6 listings, right? 6 signs in the ground, 6 sold, 6 social proof, 6 open houses, all this stuff. Overnight, the perception of everybody else in that area was, holy shit, who's this Joshua Smith cat? He came out of nowhere, and now he dominates this market share. Reality is irrelevant in marketing. It's all about perception, right? Yeah. I'll never do that. I'm not going to work for free. Dude, it's not working for free. How long is it going to take you to buy that market share through your general marketing efforts? Fucking 18 months, dude. Like, you can go have that attitude, and I'll be running circles around you all day long. Yeah, I did it for free for a couple months. Sure. I shortened that curve where now that revenue's coming in. So don't be afraid to give content. You got to give massive amounts of content. You're going to build a name for yourself. You're going to build trust out there for yourself at a high level. It's the name of the game, dude. It's you got to operate from a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. If you have a scarcity mindset, you're never going to be successful in this world.
That's really, really interesting because I listen to the likes of Gary Vee, of Lewis Howes, who I know we're both a fan of, who talk about this kind of religious appreciation for expressing gratitude about stuff. Do you have any daily habits or strategies? Is that one of the habits that you wake up in the morning and you write a list about what are you grateful for? You know, for anybody out there who's thinking, you know, I'm not grateful for anything right now. How can they cultivate that sense of abundance that you speak about, Joshua?
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because I think that's the virtue and the vice of a hardcore entrepreneur is we're never satisfied. I'm never satisfied either,
Yeah.
right? But you have to learn to be grateful, right? There's a difference between celebrating your wins and learning to be grateful for what you have, and being satisfied. Like, again, I don't want to be satisfied. I hope, my prayer for myself is that I never am satisfied, so I continue leveling up. But you got to be grateful for what you have in this world. Yeah, and you're right, man. You watch, like, you listen to Darren Hardy and a lot of the greats out there. You know, they have their gratitude journals and whatnot. I mean, so here's my daily routine, because this is something that's important. You know, everybody wants to talk about strategy. Strategy is critical, but I'm here to tell you 90% of success is up here. So between all my companies, you know, I have over 170 people at this point that are reliant on me for a paycheck between all my companies.
Wow.
So I have to make sure that I'm leveling up 7 days a week. I continue leveling up because I have so many. It gets to a point where it's no longer about you. You know, when it was just me doing my own thing, it was different. Now it gets to a point where, like, dude, like, half the days I wake up fucking depressed. I don't want to do any of this crap. I'm not in the mood for this. But it gets to a point where it's not about me anymore. But the cool thing is I found that the second I start taking action, motivation bleeds very quickly. You know, it's like the difference between winners and losers in business. Losers wait to be motivated. Winners take action regardless of their emotional state. But the action then breeds more motivation. So I wake up at 3 a.m. every day. So in addition to operating 6 companies, I've got 3 young kids. I'm married, you know, 2 dogs, and you know, and I've got some non-negotiables in life. Not taking care and leveling up in my business to me is a non-negotiable. So that means I have to work 80 plus hours a week, week in and week out, right? My health to me is a non-negotiable. Like, I'm going to take care of my health. I'm going to take care of my wife. I'm going to take care of the relationship with my kids. I'm not going to sacrifice any of those. So at this point, I'm 34. I can sacrifice a little sleep as I'm growing this. Like, I can get more, so I can catch up on sleep later in life, right? So I get up at 3 a.m., dude. The first thing that I do is I look at my phone. When my alarm goes off, I'm as pissed off as anybody. But when I wake up, I've got all my goals, right? So all my outcomes that I want for my life. So when I wake up, I'm in a pissy mood, but it's my choice to stay there. So I start reviewing my goals very quickly. I can put myself in the right state of mind. So I review my goals. I put on my earbuds. So I start always right away putting some great content in my mind, some great audiobooks. I hate reading books. I like to listen to books, right? But then I drink a couple cups of coffee. I'm walking around. So I've got, then after 30 minutes of self-development, I jump into meditation. I meditate for about 20 minutes every day.
Nice.
Then from there, I journal. So my journal is, okay, I just existed for 24 hours. What did the universe, what did God, whatever you want to call it, teach me? How did it, in this life, we're either growing or we're dying, right? Like, how did I grow as a human in the last 24 hours? Then from there, the audiobooks go back on. I'm on my way to the gym. I lift every day for an hour. I shower, but while I'm lifting, more audiobooks, right? And then shower, then I'm in my office. I'm very strategic in my environment. So my house, my gym, and my studio are all right next to each other, right? So I get done lifting. I get in my office. I'm in my office by 6 a.m. Every day. As soon as I get in my office, I spend 2 hours doing the most important things that I must do, which right now for me is content creation. So I spend the first 2 hours before I jump into meetings, before, you know, I got people, you know, opening an email that an employee just quit, or somebody, you know, tried to embezzle funds, or whatever, that, you know, all the stuff that we deal with almost daily, you know, lawsuits or whatever it could be as an entrepreneur. I make sure all the most important things are done in my day every single day. But the one thing I've learned is you must control what your eyes watch and what your ears listen to on a deep, deep level. Like, I don't have a TV in my house. You know, right? Like, I'm going to sit there. I'm going to be very, very intentional about who I choose to pay attention to, what I listen to. You know, Zig Ziglar's quote, "Motivation doesn't last, but neither is bathing." You know, that's why we need it daily. So if you're ungrateful, it's because you're focusing on negative shit. Like, okay, I'm married, dude. There's a lot of things that my wife does that pisses me the hell off. There's a lot of things that I do that piss her off, right? Am I going to focus on those? No. I'm going to focus on the 75% that's amazing, that's brilliant about her, and fuck the other 25%. You know, right? Like, I want to focus on that good shit. If I focus on the good, I'm going to wind up in that good position. You know, so it's, life is pretty epic, man. It's all the lens that you choose to look out of.
That's really powerful. You know, I'm a daily meditator myself as well. I use an app called Headspace. I write gratitude lists as well. I take time out increasingly even to pray, to actually think, there is somebody, looking above me, helping me on my way. So these daily practices, because a lot of people just dive into the cascade of life, don't they? And you're doing that important stuff before doing the important stuff.
Yeah, if you the only way to have true freedom of your schedule, you guys, is to operate in a proactive state, right? You always be a slave to somebody else's agenda when you're reactive. So if you just roll out of bed and now all of a sudden you're in a reactive state, man, your day is going to go to shit, guaranteed, right? So I want to control my schedule, control my day, put myself in the best mindset, the best physiological, mental, I guess, position I possibly can to go out there and attack the day, and it's all intentional. But yeah, the days, now, I'm not also one of these guys that, I'm a pretty upfront, honest cat, right? So
Sure.
we all have days that we miss our routine. I have days that I screw up. It happens to all of us, dude. Those days, like I know my day is going to be crap. But if I follow that routine, I put myself in a proactive state, I know that I'm going to have an epic day. Just after years and years of doing this, it just is. And there's too much evidence, to not take this stuff seriously. If you study all the greats, there's a great book out there called Daily Rituals, which is of the 500 greatest minds like Mozart and Picasso and Einstein and all the greatest minds that either exist or have existed. And each page is devoted to what their daily routine is. And every uber successful cat, they have that routine. Like Tony Robbins always says, man, it's all about winning the day, right? So then wouldn't it make sense to put yourself in the most mental and the best physical and mental state to go kill that day? So I don't check emails, I don't check text messages, I don't check Facebook, I don't check anything until I'm there. Right? Once I've manifested, once I'm clear on what I want to do. So I have a morning routine, then I have an evening routine. So at the end of my day, my evening routine, I don't know which one's more important, but the evening routine is just as important. So it's called my reflect, plan, execute. So I keep a journal all day long of everything that I'm doing throughout my day. And then at the end of my day, in my reflection time, I look at this journal. Was there anything on here that I got involved with that isn't getting me one step closer to the outcome I want to create? And if so, it gets eliminated. Everybody thinks that success is an addition. No, success is an elimination. Like, what is prohibiting you in your life from doing the things that you know you need to be doing to create the life that you want? Is it an activity? Is it a habit? Is it a human being? What does that look like? Then the next step is, once I've eliminated effectiveness and efficiency, how can I get better? I'm always looking, dude, if I can get a second better at each activity every single day, imagine what that does to you after a decade. So I'm huge on delegation. Like for example, I have a driver. Like, why the fuck would I go out there and drive when I could pay somebody $15 an hour to drive me around, when I can work on my laptop and make $2,000 an hour, right? Yeah. So now I didn't start there. It took me a while to get there, but those are all things I'm looking at. Then the next step of this is planning. Now I'm going to go out there and intentionally plan the next day to be the best day I possibly can. Here's where I'm at. Here's what I've accomplished. What must happen tomorrow to make tomorrow a win in every aspect of my life, right? So from the second I wake up to the second I go to bed, what must happen? Like, you got to attack every day with full intention. More people today spend more time designing their damn grocery list than they do their life plan. No wonder they're broke, they're fat, they're miserable, they're unsatisfied, dude. They never fucking pay attention to it, right? Like you're not going to get that result unless you're intentional.
Really, really interesting stuff, Joshua. Out of interest, because a lot of the stuff you're saying really resonates with me. I think, we're both in that sort of state where we're looking at guys like Vaynerchuk, like Lewis Howes. We're reading books by Tony Robbins and so on and so forth. Do you have a coach? Do you have a mentor? I know you're a coach yourself, but have you ever had a coach? Do you have a coach right now? Do you have a mentor? Is that something that you would advise?
Yeah, no, I love it. So I'm a massive believer in coaching. I've always, since I was 25, right? So the first 2 years of my entrepreneurship career, I didn't have a coach. But at that same point, that's when I was hitting a capacity, hitting a wall. Right? I'm working 4 a.m. to midnight every day. And I was making like $28,000 a year, which was good money for a 23, 24-year-old, but I couldn't break through it. Right. And then at that point, I hired a coach, and my life has changed ever since. So I always have a coach, and sometimes multiple coaches. Right now, I have 4 different coaches in my life, and I think this is really important. Some people hire a coach just because they feel that they need a coach. I had a lot of coaches fail. I used to look at, that coach sucked, they failed me. No, I've failed at identifying what the coach is. You have to know what the need is that you need to accomplish. So you got to get clear on this. Here's what I want to accomplish. Like, what are the problems and obstacles in the way? What do I need help on to get there? So like you mentioned, Lewis Howes, how you and I got connected in his mastermind group. Right? Like that was one piece of the puzzle that I needed help on, was the webinar piece. So I go out there and I pay for his program, right? And I help me solve that piece of my puzzle, but all times, I spend well over into the six figures, sometimes multiple six figures yearly with coaches and consultants. So strategy coaches to overall business coaches to health coaches. At this point I have 4 different coaches in my life today. I have a Facebook coach, like I said, health and fitness coach. I've got a leadership coach, which is, because as I expand my companies, I've got to expand them with less and less of my personal involvement. So then, how do we create the leaders with inside our organizations and, inspect what we expect of the systems? And coaching is huge, dude. Okay. So if somebody were going to go try to get the webinar game, not that I sell coaching in the webinar space, that's what cats like Lewis Howes are out there for. But, if I were to, now successfully, I've done about $2.7 million in sales just through my webinars in the last 19 months since I started this. Wouldn't it make sense to go out there and pay a dude for his time that's made all the mistakes, that's been able to dial this into a science and eliminate that learning curve? But people, number one, they're just too uncommitted to go out there and do the research and find the person. Then they're like, I got to pay this guy, like Lewis's program for a G. People will bat an eye at paying a G. I'm like, well, dude, that's why you're going to fucking fail. Just go back to your job. Do not jump in this space. Go back to your job. If you're not willing to invest, and you're going to invest wrong, and you're going to hire some of the wrong coaches. But here's the cool thing about it is those wrong coaches, dude. That's some of your best learning experiences, because when you get into that game, you know what to do, but you also know what not to do. But you got to invest in your self-development. There's no better ROI that exists.
That's, it's really fascinating, hearing you say stuff like that, and also your motivation, your charisma, your drive is really sort of emanating from the screen here all the way over to Africa, where I'm conducting this interview. So it's congratulations to you for that, Joshua. Here's a question, because I've heard Gary Vee talk about it a lot, that there are a lot of people out there who talk about hustle, and there are a lot of people who talk about the grind. Do you think that there's a certain number of people who just have it, and then there are others who should go back to their job and forget about entrepreneurialism? Because entrepreneurialism isn't for everybody, right? It's darkest before the dawn, as they say, of entrepreneurialism.
Yeah, man, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life, man. I've overcome obesity, I've overcome alcoholism, I've done a lot of things, and nothing's even come close to how difficult entrepreneurship is. But that's why I'm so addicted to it, right? You get addicted to the process, And I don't follow Gary Vee much at all, so I don't know his exact approach on this and what he says. I just use his examples, as I know he's got a big name out there with it. But when it comes to to answer your question, dude, no, I don't believe that there's certain people that are born for it and those that are not. It's all about what you're truly committed to, right? Like there was a point in my life where I wasn't willing to do what it took to be an entrepreneur. I didn't want to work. I didn't want to grind. And then there was a time in my life where I woke up and I got fully committed with that. So there's no such thing as talent or skill, right? It's just what you are fully committed to, period, right? Like if you are committed to that level, but you need to know what you're getting yourself into. So just like I'll kind of lay you down with the last 2 weeks of my life. So I have one of my companies that's 2,000 miles away from me. It's a software company. Okay. So I had to fly out there. I'm working with our 5 developers. We're getting ready for this new launch. Literally in the office there from 7 a.m. some of the nights there till 9 p.m. I get done there. I got to go back to my hotel room while I still have all my other stuff that needs to get done. So I'm working till about 1:30 in the morning. I'm having to get up at 3:30 in the morning, hit the gym, go back in, doing that for 7 days straight. Right? I take a red eye home, get home. The next day I have meetings here in the studio. So we have a 3-day window to get caught up with our meetings here in my studio before we put on a massive 1,000-person local speaking event. So that was a massive rush, 18-hour days, go. Then that event ends. I get home at midnight Thursday night. That next morning, I got to pick up my business partners, one from LA, one from Florida that flew in to create our new fitness product. I don't know if you saw me posting.
The food and nutrition thing, right?
Fitness product. Yeah. So then we had, Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. I mean, literally probably I don't know, 50 hours of video creation and shooting over those 3 days. Get home last night, Sunday night, midnight. I'm back up this morning at 3 a.m. Here I'm back in the studio. So you're talking, this is like a 3 week window. I think the most sleep that I've gotten in 3 weeks on one single night is probably 4.5 hours, and grinding, dude. Now, that's not always my life. I mean, my typical week is like 80 hours, not 120 hours. But this stuff happens quite a bit, depending on the projects that I'm involved in. So if you're worried about how many days off you're going to be getting in vacation for you, man, either it's either not for you and then not the life for you, or you just haven't went deep enough on what your purpose is and why you want it, and you're not committed to it. Because I mean, dude, you have to be willing to sacrifice a certain portion of your life to live like nobody else. You can live like the rest of your life like nobody else, and man, you got to be obsessed with it. You got to love it. You got to be, you got to be that person that vacation is pain to.
Sure.
Like, okay, you got to take them to appease the wife and spend time with the family and create memories. But the whole time you're there, like, you cannot fucking wait to get back to your office and get back grinding in your studio. And I look at entrepreneurship as, I don't watch sports, but, if I was a professional athlete, like top of my game, like a Michael Jordan, nobody was criticizing Michael Jordan for the amount of hours he's putting in. They're like, oh, you're chasing your passion. Sure. Entrepreneurs, though, we get criticized for it, right? But I look like, dude, like, I feel like I'm that professional athlete doing what I love with that grind. So you just really got to evaluate it, dude, because if you're not obsessed with it, there is no 9 to 5. It's eyes open to eyes closed. But it's not just the hours. Because the other thing too, like one of my companies, I was able to step out of it 4 years ago when I was 30, and I could essentially, dude, work an hour a week and go travel and just pretty much be done at this point in my life. But I'm not interested in making millions now. I'm interested in creating $100 million companies and $1 billion companies, right? So I just keep leveling up with that, and it's because of my, not greed, but it's my love for the process of entrepreneurship. It's become a game to me. I'm just obsessed. It has nothing to do with the money at this point. So I could back off. I choose not to with that. But like, you gotta not only be willing to put in the time, but then the other things that people don't talk about. Like, you got to be willing every single day. If you come in here and you lose it all, are you willing to put it on the line and lose it all? Like, what does that happen? Like, I've went out there and I made a decision at one point in my late 20s, lost me $400,000 of every penny I had. I signed a personal guarantee, so it also put me into $100,000 of business credit card debt. Took me 18 months to get out of it. I'm fucking hawking Rolexes, everything that I acquired at that time to keep pushing forward and going. And if you can't overcome those and not allow yourself to get broken, like, I look at entrepreneurship as like, you got this piece of coal, right? Well, entrepreneurship's going to test you, dude. It's just the pressure. Are you going to fucking break, or are you going to become a diamond? And those that are uber successful become that diamond. And there's one skill or superhuman power that I've found that uber successful entrepreneurs like Ryan Blair and Elon Musk and these dudes have. It's their inability just to never stop, even in those low moments, and just withstand more pain than like any other human being can take on. It's like, you look at Elon Musk, dude, right? So sells PayPal for what, $220 million, creates SpaceX, Tesla. He loses everything, loses his house, marriage. Yeah. He's living on his buddy's couch, writing it down to nothing, and then he gets that call with an investor that infuses and turns it around. But if you're not willing to go to that extreme, dude, you're probably not going to ever make it big.
That's, I mean, it's incredible advice, and you've overcome a lot yourself, as you said earlier in the interview. Where can people find you, Joshua? You've given so much advice. I know GSD Mose is out there. You've got 100 episodes of the podcast as well. If people want to learn a bit more about you, where can they find you?
Yeah, best place, I'll give you two places. You can go to the site, gsdmode.com, which is our podcast similar to this, where we interview not just entrepreneurs, but we interview professional athletes, just people that are dominating their space. So it's a pretty cool medium there. Or YouTube. Just type in Joshua Smith, and I'm always the good-looking cat at the top.
Fantastic. And just one final thing, Joshua. I saw on the website that you said something along the lines of inspiration without implementation is nothing. What is your one truth? If you were on your deathbed tomorrow and you could leave us all with something, your words of wisdom, your advice for whomever out there, be it family, strangers, or friends, what would it be?
Yeah. So, well, just two quick things. So your quote there. So what I always say is information without implementation is a sort of delusion, right? Information is not
Right.
power. It's taking that information, implementing on it, taking action that creates power in your world. So, as far as that one piece of advice, so what started my journey with all of this 12 years ago, I was making $10 an hour, broke as a joke, depressed, hating life, working at this hospital. And I'm working on the hospice floor. Right. So I'm actually spending 12-hour shifts with people on their deathbed. And I did this for like 2 years. So we're talking, I know it was crazy. I'd develop great relationships with them. And then once they died, like I was the guy that would have to wash their bodies and, bring them to the morgue. It was a very hard experience, but the biggest blessing probably of my life, to be involved in that experience. And that was when I woke up, right. So I was 22 years old and I just woke the fuck up at that aspect of my life. And what woke me up is after having thousands of conversations with all these people on their deathbed, every single person had a shoulda, woulda, coulda list. Not one person was ever like, dude, Josh, life was epic. Life was amazing. I'm ready for the next journey, whatever that was or is. Everybody was like, I should have done this, should have traveled more, should have married a different person, shoulda, woulda, coulda, right? At that same time, because there's that saying out there that the teacher doesn't appear until the student's ready. Well, I was going through massive depression in my world. Like I literally was planning on committing suicide. I planned out my suicide. Like I was ready to end my life,
Wow.
going through some pretty internal darkness. And that scared me. Like I literally planned it out, had everything ready to execute on it. As I was going through this experience and going through and being scared of getting to that low moment, I realized, man, if I don't figure out a way to overcome this depression, dude, it's gonna end. Like, and then what's the opposite of depression? Is fulfillment. So I started chasing that, and then through this hospital experience, I realized that we are all on our deathbed going to have one final conversation, right? I mean, I call it the ultimate scoreboard. What did we do with this one gift called life that we've been blessed with? Did we piss it away or did we go out there and create something epic with it? So this right here, I don't know if you can see that, but that number, it says 591. I have this number everywhere. So every single month, I redo the calculation. So I take 84, which is the average age of the average human being in a developed a country. I subtract it by the amount of years that I am. So minus 34, I prorate the months. So this means right now as of September 2016, I have 591 months left to live and exist on this planet if I'm blessed to live to the average age of the average human being. So October, I'll have 590. So I look at that number every single day. And I just ask myself, what must happen in that time frame for me on my deathbed to know with 100% full certainty in my heart that I didn't piss this gift away, that I went out there. Maybe I don't accomplish my dreams, goals, and visions, but I know I gave everything I possibly could. I stepped on the field, gave it my all to create this epic life. I mean, I realized again, I was going through that depression, and I was like, dude, to be uber or to be successful at overcoming this, I've got to become truly fulfilled. And the cool thing is I've realized that it's not about accomplishing your goals that creates fulfillment. It's okay, hey, my goal here, I'm operating down here, but when we're doing nothing while we're down here, that creates suffering. My goals are up here, I'm still down here, but every day taking little action to get up here every day, just knowing that I'm getting one step closer is what creates massive fulfillment. It's not closing the gap. It's just every day knowing that you're taking action to get a step closer. Dude, like within two days, my depression was gone. And that's my last piece of advice. Like, get clear, you guys. This life is so damn brief. Get clear on what it is that you want. Get clear on why you want it. Don't let it be your parents' goals for you, society's goals for you. Why do you want it? What does it mean to you? Get crystal clear on that and work every fucking day of your life to go out there and create. Like, there's no positive days off. Like, every single day, go out there and create. You don't deserve a vacation. You don't deserve a day off. You deserve to go out there and accomplish your dreams, goals, and visions, right? You deserve an epic life. So just get to work at it.
Joshua Smith, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for your amazing words of wisdom, your advice, and man, you're an inspiration. Your story is incredible.
Yeah, it's been an honor, my friend. I really appreciate it. It's awesome to finally connect with you in person, dude.
Thank you very much indeed, Joshua, and I'll see you next time.
The ground up, I built it with the intent of bringing my town up. Y'all getting all wound up. Y'all getting all telling me, it's impossible. I'm looking at them like, nah, that's a not. It's cool, bruh.
I said that